Swapping the Porsche Boxster and Cayman's flat-six engine for a turbocharged four-cylinder was, at least in our little car world, a big, swinging moment. When it happened in 2016, hardcore fans of the model's elegant dynamics spit fiery bile at the grunty torque curve and blarty sonance. A Porsche that sounded like a Subaru WRX? It was blasphemy enveloped in vape smoke. Others grudgingly praised the 2.5-liter 4's throttle response, around-town drivability, and more efficient nature. Per usual, the remaining 7.68 billion people in the world carried on with their lives blissfully unaware, only 0.0001% of them knowing for sure whether a Cayman was a car or a tax haven. Of course, those who know, know. Right? Despite purists who insist the Turbo 4 was to blame for letting down the flaps on the car's sales in recent years, both 718 models still offer a superb sports car experience, a brilliant chassis and the most responsive boosted 4 ever devised. Could it be that people just don't desire pure sports cars the way they used to? Remember that the Boxster alone, in its early 2000s heyday, sold upward of 10,000 cars in the US yearly. Now US sales of both 718 models together have dwindled from 5,087 in 2017 to 3,380 in 2019. Then again, maybe Porsche, in its bid to hit emissions targets and open a new front in the war for power within the mid-engine platform's packaging constraints, did underestimate the demands of the senses. Shouldn't a pair of cars whose very existence celebrates the sensory qualities of driving carry the most expressive powertrain available? Disclosure: Porsche flew me to Portugal and paid for all my food and booze as well as track time on Circuito do Estoril, where Ayrton Senna made that brilliant drive back in '85 to win the Portugal Grand Prix on a rainy Sunday in a Lotus GTS. Not starstruck at all. No sir. Not this guy. The 2021 Porsche 718 Boxster/Cayman GTS 4.0, by the numbers. Base price, $90,000, Boxster, $89,000, Cayman, estimated. Powertrain, 4.0-liter flat 6-speed manual transmission rear-wheel drive. Horsepower, 394 horsepower at 7,000 RPM. Torque, 309 lb-ft at 5,000 to 6,500 RPM. 0 to 60 miles per hour, 4.3 seconds. Top speed, 182 miles per hour. Curb weight, 3,157 pounds, Boxster, 3,166 pounds, Cayman. The promise: manual transmission, compliant ride, great balance, perfect body control, and a flexible engine. What more could anyone possibly want from a sports car? Maybe gearing that doesn't double most B-road speed limit in second gear. But that's it. Does it deliver? Take a guess. Indeed, the Cayman GT4 and Boxster Spider were the variants everyone could believe in. The latest generation of those two, with their 911 GT3 front suspension and tweaks to rear geometry, naturally aspirated flat-six and dazzling kinetics, gave enthusiasts an adrenalizing gift, something to aspire to in an age of bloated, compromised sports cars. It was a performance flagship that finally put the mid-engine platform on a pedestal where it so desperately belonged. The engine is the top line, however, flavoring the driving experience with its revvy good nature. It's mostly the same mid-range blaster as in the GT4/Spider, based on the 9A2 from the Carrera 991.2 with the turbos removed. Engineers extended bore and stroke for an extra liter of displacement and added a new crank, conrads, and pistons, and fresh heads and valve train. Cylinder deactivation functionality at low torque loads, below 73 lb-ft, again make an appearance to help improve efficiency and reduce emissions. What is a GTS? As we were reminded on a recent trip to Portugal where we sampled two of Porsche's GTS models, the 2020 Macan GTS and the 718 Fraternal Twins, GTS is both an economy package of options and a prize pack of features you can't get on the S model. In the case of the 718 GTS 4.0, the big prize is that 4.0-liter, naturally aspirated flat six from the Spider/GT4. Here it's slightly defanged to 394 horsepower, by way of a tighter rein on available revs, topping at 7,800 RPM instead of the Spider/GT4's 8,000 RPM. Torque is the same, however, making for an identical around-town drive, while retaining the engine's broader appeal. It's as long-limbed and flexible as ever. We sampled the Boxster GTS on a selection of Portuguese A and B roads, and the Cayman GTS on track at the legendary Estoril circuit, which was where we could find out if the standard mid-engine coupe's sublime MacPherson struts all-around chassis would make us miss the higher-spec GT4/Spider. Gearing is still a major impediment to keeping a driver's limbs working happily on public thoroughfares. With second gear heading up to double the speed limit on this coastal Portuguese B road, it's hard not to consider it a one-speed in application. Get it on the track, however, and those long legs make for some exhilarating laps, highlighting what a box of chocolates that engine is. A 6-speed manual is the only gearbox available currently, and it's still a tactile match, with slightly longer throws than the GT4/Spider but perfectly snug engagements that don't rely on extreme notchiness to add feel. On the road, where the GT4/Spider's hard subframe mounts compromise ride quality, the GTS is more compliant, making for less jarring road trips on sketchy pavement. Porsche's more streetable, 20mm lower sport PASM active dampers are standard on the GTS, and the normal setting is a spine's best friend. On track, the compromise is a bit less turn-in clarity and mid-corner bite than the GT4/Spider's chassis provides, but it's easy to adapt to the difference, and the Cayman's natural balance and nimbleness pierces through.